Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a very important, and dare I say, even a little bit divisive of a topic today. Now, let me get one thing out of the way straight up. When I use the word save, I don't mean the game is going to die next month or even next year. I think the game is still relatively healthy financially. I think Kabam wouldn't be hiring more people and trying to sustain the workforce that they have if the game was truly dying or dead. I do think that, of course, if this game does die, it would heavily influence Kabam's future as a company, and so they have to put and continue to put everything they have into this game that's not going into Mirrorverse or their other ventures. But I still think this is their number one safest cash cow. Certainly been around way longer than Mirrorverse or anything else that's still going on. But when I use the word save, I'm talking about players' morale. And look, I do think that Act 8, specifically 8.3, is going to be a nice shot of fun and adrenaline for the people who have been asking for new content. I think that's going to help, but the best players, the best whales, the most hungry players are going to clear that content in a week or less. Let's just say safely a month. And then they're going to have to wait a lot longer for the next piece of content to come out. And I also think that there is just a understanding in the community that we're at kind of an impasse. Even though we have daily cards that have Tier 6 Basic and Tier 3 Alpha, you can get those resources pretty much for free with Glory and Trophy tokens in both the Battleground store and the Glory store, and other places. 7-star shards, I still feel like the 7-star basic pool is fine, but not like super exciting. When I open a 7-star, I'm usually thinking about the arena. I'm usually thinking about the hope that doesn't hit of like awakening some champions. But even like if you throw out a 7-star as a defender, like I've seen lately quite a bit in Battlegrounds with champs like, say, Guillotine 2099. I mean, cool. But is that going to make or break whether or not you keep playing this game? Probably not. The best thing Kabam has done this year, in my book, even though I would have done it differently and I think it would have been better if I had designed it, assuming the coding was possible, is Ascension. In fact, I've heard from a few people that left the game and then came back and was like, what is this Ascension thing? This looks pretty amazing. And I have to say, it is. I also have to say that Relics I've never spent a single penny on, and I really enjoy linking combos, and especially with somebody like OG Hulk. My 7-star rank 2 is like non-Hawkeye Ronin 2.0, where I can spam that incredible stun on the special one, and then if the stun's about to expire, the relic usually saves me, and so it's like so relaxing and easy and fun. If you missed my video where I talked about how this month is about to say goodbye to the easiest event quest completion points of all time with Quake, you can see that I got to the boss and didn't use Quake against Gladiator for the Thronebreaker event quest difficulty. I used OG Hulk, and it was a joke and so much fun because of his utility and his fun. And so, yes, 7 stars have value, but I don't think they're moving the needle at this point with players that are kind of bored and have hit a wall. And then, yeah, 25% Tier 6 Class Callus Fragment Selectors, that's fine. But for $50, when you need 3 Tier 6 Class Callus to take a 6-star to rank 5, or keep in mind, speaking of 7 stars, if you want to take a 7-star to rank 2, it's of course going to cost you more resources than a 6-star to rank 5 would, and that means instead of 3 Tier 6 Class Catalyst, you need 4. So there are a lot of people out there who do have a ton of rank 2 7-stars, and they're of course annoying in Battlegrounds, which, speaking of Battlegrounds, it's always going to be something that a ton of players play, and I do think that this game would have been in major trouble, like serious trouble, had Battlegrounds not come into the game. So I don't want to underscore that. But Kabam keeps talking about how they sped up the progression to get here for a purpose. And I believe that purpose, as historically speaking, is for the next progression title to come out, most likely right before Cyber Weekend. I think, and by Cyber Weekend now, I really mean Cyber Week, because it's a 7-day event instead of a 2 or 3-day event, or even 4-day event. I really think that's where the game is headed. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've seen nothing official about that, But remember when Thronebreaker came out, that was right before Cyber Week, and then it shifted, and when Paragon came out, it was during the summer, sort of, a couple months before July 4th week. And so I expect the next progression title, historically speaking, it's like ping pong. It's like fall, summer, fall, summer. Well, it was fall, and then summer, now it's back to fall. I suspect that rank 3 7 stars, and specifically the material that we're looking for, which for rank 3 7 stars, just to remind you all, there's something we haven't even seen in the game yet. And that is Tier 4 Alpha Catalyst. I expect this thing to debut, and yes, you need 3 of them, like Tier 5 Basic used to. Which, hey, you want 10% of a Tier 4 Alpha? It'll cost you $100. And most people say that's crazy, and rightfully so, but for the people who don't, you're going to be putting out $100 for something that is going to cost $1,000 on average for 1, or $3,000 on average for 3, and the difference between a rank 2 and a rank 3 7-star is mostly going to be the difference between using a greater champion 30% boost or not. So if you want to rent a rank 3 7-star, if you have a rank 2 7-star for free, just pop that greater champion boost on and then go your own way. That's what I'm going to do. But needless to say, this game has become a lot more expensive to play, and Kabam knows that. And they know, I'm sure inflation has hit their office, and it's more expensive than ever before in some ways to run the game, to finance the game, to code the game. I'm not trying to discount that either. They're a for-profit company that, of course, wants to make money, deserves to make money. You just want to make sure that when they make money, it's a pro-player move as well, and players aren't being scammed or conned out of their wallet. So I do think it's time for a new progression level. Paragon feels outdated, and Kabam wants that to be the case. I think it'll be refreshing to chase something, because that new carrot does inspire people like myself who also create content to want to push further. But every time that happens too, there's going to be pushback, and suddenly Thronebreakers are Cavaliers, and Cavaliers are Uncollected, and Uncollected's always, at this point, been screwed, and now they're just irrelevant. So I want this game to be around for another 10, 15 years, and progression titles are a great way to do that. But I also think that a lot of the player base is burnt out, bored, and disinterested. We don't have as much random content anymore that we used to. We don't have new variant content. We don't have celebrity challenge content. And so it just feels more likely for things to be stale. And that's why Kabam's trying to incentivize the game modes that are already coded into the game, like better incursions. Even though better incursions to me is still kind of not fun. I don't think that's a hot take. I think it's just, I don't know, it's work. Which I'm not saying it shouldn't feel like work all the time, but it feels like work for still not as good rewards as it should be. So YouTube, that is my take today. I think it'll help, but ultimately Kabam needs to continue to be more innovative and not just depend on major whale holidays, especially after the Caps commissary event, to keep players here, because otherwise players have all the incentive in the world to just not play the game in between July and November and then just throw all their money at those days and be better off than people who don't have the money to do that and yet play every day. And that's just a horrible state for any game to be in.